welcome
to Legendary Africa, your African myth and legend podcast.
We did that so well.
I know, right? For once, starting this podcast the right way.
Amazing.
And can I just say, it is cold as Satan's balls in Johannesburg today.
Yeah, Satan's balls.
Now, it's crazy. There's snow in the Cape. Apparently, there's snow in Zimbabwe.
Oh, okay.
I saw a picture of a woman actually snowboarding in the Western Cape, which, you know, for those of you who have never been to South Africa, it just about never happens. I mean, except like in really mountainous areas.
I mean, not that thick layer, yeah.
Yeah, there was an entire boot print in the snow.
Yeah. I actually didn't realize that it snowed in Joburg City before.
Oh yeah, it does happen.
I did not know that.
I have yet to witness it since moving to Johannesburg from Durban, but apparently it does happen. So, how are you doing?
Oh, you know, cold. But also, like, strangely hot at the same time. Wait.
Yeah, I hate it when you're wearing like 10 jackets and you're getting like this sort of cold sweat under the armpits, but at the same time you're still cold.
So that was happening to me last night. I was like, okay, you know what? I think I'm actually too hot. But then I take like one arm out and like, oh no, it's freezing. Put it back.
Right? It's the whole should I have one leg out while I'm sleeping situation.
Yeah, and then you put so many blankets on top of you that you actually can't turn in the bed.
It's like, no, I can't breathe.
It's so funny because it's so much colder in so many other places and we're complaining.
Well, you know, that said, when I was still studying music, I went to a piano concert, and there was a guy there, a classical pianist, who was Canadian, and he said that he'd recently played a concert in the Free State, and he'd never been so cold in his life.
Oh.
I was like, this bro is Canadian.
Because of central heating.
Right, yeah. I mean, here in South Africa, we don't have double glazed windows. We don't have central heating.
Because we don't need it, usually.
I mean, the buildings are not even designed to let sun in. We're living in a goddamn prison cell.
No, it's true. That is actually really funny. My supervisor, who's from Germany, is always like, aren't you getting cold? And she's wearing like this big jacket. I'm just like, no, it's only like, what, 17 degrees or whatever. Yeah, but it's cold. I'm like, isn't Germany so much colder? But then, yeah, it's a central heating issue.
Yeah, so, I mean, fair warning to anyone who comes to Africa for the sunshine and the sunsets and, you know, the general beach weather. It can get fucking cold. Anyway, that's enough of the weather.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're such adults. We talk about the weather now.
Yeah, why don't you start talking about...
my health?
Oh, I was going to suggest, like, a kitchen appliance that you're excited about.
You know, I always have a fondness for whisks.
Whisks?
Yeah.
What,
just
like,
cause.
Like electric whisks? Handheld whisks?
You know, all kinds of whisks. Big whisks, small whisks. I'm not discriminating against any whisks.
No whisk racism here, folks.
Yep, I'm not whiskist.
Whiskist.
I tried.
No, but like in all seriousness, you got any news?
Yeah, so, okay, so, buckle the fuck up. Because I am like, what, 2 more episodes away from the finale of season 2 of Handmaid's Tale. Handmaid's Tale. I do this every time. And yo, dude, it is. Okay, so spoiler alert. If anybody who hasn't watched this, which I feel like it's only me who's this behind.
Well, and me, but that's because I got too depressed and stopped watching, like in season 1.
Yeah, it is very hectic. Do you mind if I tell you?
Yeah, no, I mean, go for it. I don't think I'm going to get less depressed about this show, so...
So, Offred June is her real name. She literally birthed her own... she birthed a child by herself.
Why would that happen?
So, it's a complicated story, but essentially she got left behind in this winter wonderland, in this huge mansion, all by herself. Her... The person who's supposed to be taking care of her was kidnapped or whatever. So she's literally there alone. It's freezing fuck outside.
Yeah.
And she tries to get away, but she starts going into labor.
Oh shit.
And so she goes inside, literally doing this all by herself. And it was an intense scene. It was probably one of the most intense birthing scenes I've ever seen.
Did she have to do the whole thing where she cuts her own umbilical cord and everything?
Luckily, they didn't show that part.
Yeah, I hate it when they show that part.
Yeah, no, but it felt very real, you know? Like, the way she was screaming.
Yeah.
And,
was the baby okay?
Yeah, no, it was... Oh,
wait. Was it a boy?
No. I mean, unless the boy's name Holly, but I don't think so.
Damn it! And here I had my money on that. My fictional money.
But yeah, that was... I got sweats, hey?
I was just thinking, it must be so traumatic and well, not just traumatic, but also difficult for the actors to maintain that kind of intensity over so many episodes. Because, I mean, as far as I can tell, it takes like half a year to film a season.
Yeah.
And can you imagine, like, for 6 months, just day in, day out, really not smiling very much? Like, do you
I think
forget how to smile?
That is why so many actors are in therapy.
Yeah, makes
Because
sense.
it's very, especially people who do method acting, which I don't think Elizabeth Moss does.
I think if you did method acting for *Handmaid's Tale*, you'd actually turn into a psychopath.
Probably. But yeah, it's very good. But aside from that, I ran across an article yesterday, which is actually news from last year, but apparently it's progressing now, about so as we know, climate change, global warming is causing glaciers to melt and stuff like that.
Sure.
It's also causing snow on mountainous areas to melt, and that's revealed a whole bunch of corpses.
Oh, on Mount Everest?
And on Mount Everest and a bunch of other places.
Yeah.
So that was actually from last year, but it's actually getting worse now. And apparently they found a few like a million-year-old virus.
Whoa.
But they say that it's unlikely that they could actually do anything because it's not like there's a body that can carry it. They're all corpses. So I don't think we can get viruses from corpses.
I mean, this may sound stupid, but I actually didn't realize that viruses could survive that long in ice.
Yeah, so I think that's why I'm not entirely sure how they found it. But I think that is why they're not too worried about it. But what's gross is that apparently it's starting to smell.
Oh.
So there's actually so many. What happens is that people used to bury people underneath churches, and they didn't really do a full, like, they didn't embalm the body or anything. And because it was so cold, they didn't ever think that it would melt. And the bodies would start, decaying. So now they are. And apparently it's causing huge stenches everywhere.
Oh, that is so disgusting.
I know, but I thought it was fascinating.
That is fascinating. You know, I heard on the Box of Oddities podcast, which, by the way, I recommend to anyone who's interested in, like, random facts and weird things and so on. Anyway, I heard that apparently Mount Everest is the largest open-air graveyard in the world.
That's okay.
And that climbers actually measure their progress by whether they've passed a certain corpse. Like, apparently it's impossible to... I mean, so there's certain paths up Mount Everest, right?
Yeah.
And it's impossible to get to a certain point without passing this one specific corpse called Green Boots.
Okay.
Well, I mean, because all you can see is the boots and...
Oh! Okay. Because the rest of the body is frozen or the rest of the body is gone?
I think the rest of the body is under snow.
Okay. Why has nobody taken that out? Oh, because it would cause an avalanche?
I think that it's also a kind of honorable to have, died on this mountain in pursuit of this, great achievement. And they're almost kind of memorialized by being there. You know, like how they say a captain goes down with his ship, or like naval officers should be buried at sea, stuff like that. I think it's the same kind of thing. It's almost like a salute to the brave people who attempted this.
But you know what freaks me out is that if you are climbing Mount Everest and then you get stranded up there next to a dead body, and then like that dead body is your only friend for several days or weeks, and then you just sort of go crazy and you name him Fred and I have a whole theory, like a fantasy here.
I mean, generally you don't climb Everest or really any major mountain on your own.
Okay.
Like it's very unlikely that you will make it up and down that mountain all on your own.
Yeah.
So, unless you've unfortunately lost your climbing partner.
Have you ever wanted to do that? I mean, not lose your climbing partner, but climb.
Not in the slightest.
Me neither, hey? I don't know if that makes us unadventurous or...
No, I mean, it just makes us,
survivalists.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it just means we have a healthy appreciation of life. No, I mean, seriously, no disrespect to mountain climbers, they're amazing people, but just personally, there's no way I could have the kind of grit to really make it through something like that, the slog, the altitude sickness, the loneliness, the very real possibility that you are going to fail.
Yeah, I mean, I hate heights. I can't really stand on ladders without sweating slightly, so... and I mean, like, step ladders. So, I definitely couldn't do that.
Just climb up on a small stool. And...
Yeah, no, hey? No, literally, I struggle. But anyway. But yeah, that's what I ran across.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I have equally bizarre piece of news. And it's
Mhm.
actually a mystery story.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't think there's enough data to solve it, but yeah.
An unsolved mystery?
Yeah.
I am here. Forget the rest of the episode.
So, I was looking through the news and I found this article on The Guardian. The title is Man has been receiving pizzas he never ordered for almost 10 years.
Should you be complaining? Wait, does he have to pay for them?
No, so okay, the funny thing is, right, he actually is complaining because apparently this poor man, he's a Belgian guy named Jean van, I think, Lundegem?
Mhm.
Lundegem? Anyway, he's been having pizza delivered to his home at literally any time of the night or
Oh.
day for
Oh,
10 straight
It's
years.
a prank.
But I mean, who maintains a prank for 10 years?
Someone who was really messed up.
Yeah, the guy is like 65 years old. It's not only pizza, sometimes it's like kebabs or pitas or something. And he just has these delivery people knocking at his door like maybe, 2 a.m. or something like that. And he still doesn't know who has been sending them. And, the, what do you call them, like pizza places and things have
Yeah.
actually, also been frustrated because this guy is constantly like, no, I didn't order this pizza. And I think he sends the food back sometimes.
Oh no.
Because,
okay.
maybe he's vegan and he doesn't eat this stuff.
But surely the delivery places can trace back the order or something.
I mean, I guess not.
That's weird though. I mean, it's gonna come through either the site phone number or something.
Well, I think if you order online, probably I don't think they're allowed to trace your IP address or anything.
I suppose no. You'd have to get like the police
Yeah,
involved.
that
and
would
stuff
be
like
like
that.
technically an invasion of privacy, and I don't
Mhm.
think there's enough here to actually call the police and like put in a harassment claim.
I mean, it kind of is. That's so strange.
Apparently, in January last year, he received 10 different food deliveries, one of which was for 14 pizzas.
One delivery was 14 pizzas.
Yeah.
What? Wait, are you sure that people aren't getting his? No, but it's several different delivery places, so they can't be getting his address wrong.
Yeah, and I mean 10 years.
Yeah, true. That's interesting.
Apparently on that day, and by the way, the 10 deliveries in January was all on one day.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
And apparently on that day, it cost the pizza place 450 euros because, I mean, he couldn't eat all that pizza, so he just sent some back.
Why don't you just give it to
and
people?
yeah, I was thinking that myself.
like homeless people
Yeah,
or just neighbors.
that's true. But I guess maybe it's not particularly ethical because, I mean, they have to trust that you didn't touch it because there's no formal sealing on pizza boxes. So
Yeah, but I mean, if you've been receiving this for 10 years, surely you
Yeah,
could be
but-
like,
but
I'm the guy who gets free stuff. There you go. Oh, it's not poisoned.
Yeah, because I think also like the food outlet is legally obliged to throw food away that has been returned.
That's the thing, yeah. So that's why I
Yeah.
thought, if you could give it to people. But also, I thought so. Initially, I thought maybe someone had put in. So you can put in like a lifetime order, apparently, to delivery to people. But if it's if it's different kind of orders and at all kinds of times of the day, then clearly someone is making the order
Yeah.
each time. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like a automatic thing that goes off.
Yeah, it's very weird.
That's interesting. I wonder if it's
So-
gonna stop if he dies, or was just gonna continue to the next owner of the house.
And yeah, I mean that's my little urban mystery for today.
Fantastic.
So send us your theories. I mean, in comments or an email or something. If-
Oh, send us some pizzas.
Also, this is a public message to the mysterious pizza guy. Please come forward. We will protect your identity. We just want to know why you are doing this.
in exchange for some pizzas, we shall protect your identity.
Oh, yeah. FYI, if you want to send us free pizzas for 10 years, I'm totally down with it.
Yeah.
I
you know.
mean,
We can
seems
send
good.
you our updated addresses because that's not creepy.
We can send you a list of things that we like to eat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe it is just a good Samaritan who thinks that they're doing something good for someone.
That's what I would have thought, but the fact that he sends it at all kinds of times of the day
Yeah,
is a bit
that's weird.
Also, 14 pizzas in one time. What are you doing? You trying to kill the person? Pepperoni.
Well,
Interesting.
anyway, let's get on to our stories. I'm excited to
Mm-mm.
see what you have today.
Oh yeah, it's my turn today. Okay, so I have got a story. Well, I'm talking about two different creatures from Benin and Ashanti mythology.
Ashanti, just
It's from
to
Ghana.
confirm, yeah, they're like the biggest tribe in Ghana, right?
Yeah, I think the biggest ethnicity group in in Ghana. I have discussed them before, but first let's talk a little bit about Benin. So I'm talking about the Aziza, and I think it's pronounced Momotia, but I'm honestly not too sure. Somebody actually knows how to pronounce it, did say. These are fairy-like creatures. Ooh, fairies! Mm-hmm. Okay, so a little bit of history on Benin. It's formerly known as Dahomey, started by the Portuguese.
Okay.
Started calling it that. It's located in West Africa with Nigeria to the east of it. The official language of Benin is French, with several indigenous languages such as Fon, Bariba, Yoruba, and Dendi commonly spoken as well. Not much is known about the history of Benin pre-colonization. Before 1700, there were several city-states, political systems, and ethnicities coexisting with each other, such as the ethnic groups Aja, Yoruba, and Gbe. There was also a significant military presence in the form of the Oyo Empire, which actually regularly conducted raids and obtained tributes from nearby populations.
Oh, so they were a tyrannical empire?
Kind of, yeah. But then by the early 1700s, what was known as the Kingdom of Dahomey was founded, consisting mostly of the Fon people, which is actually the largest ethnic group in modern Benin. And this kingdom lasted until 1904. Quite a long time. It lasted through colonization.
Oh, interesting. So the colonists actually allowed the kingdom to survive.
Yeah, actually, well, not allowed. So in this kingdom, young boys were often apprenticed to older soldiers and taught the kingdom's military customs until they were old enough to join the army. So it is very militaristic culture. Also, what is very interesting, or at least what I found interesting, was that the kingdom was famous for instituting an elite female-only soldier group called Ahosi, which means the king's wives, or Mino, our mothers, which is in the Fon language, Fongbe. But like the elite force in Black Panther, if you want to use that as an example.
Oh, cool.
It was a female-led, female-only clan of warriors.
Right, okay. So were they like a female cohort as part of the larger clan of warriors, or they were like their own separate faction?
Well, they still served the kingdom, but I think separate to the other normal soldiers, the men soldiers.
How interesting.
So actually, they came to be known as Dahomean Amazons by many Europeans who were researching it.
So a reference to Greek myth.
Exactly, yeah. And in general, the kingdom's military skills led to them actually being called Black Sparta from European observers and 19th century explorers such as Sir Richard Button. So Eurocentrism strikes again.
Yeah, definitely feels a bit racist, but okay.
Yep. But what I really want to talk about is the fact
fairies.
that the fairies, yes, but also the fact that they had such an advanced military culture, which I found was quite interesting at the time. Now, unfortunately, in 1472, the kingdom began participating in the transatlantic slave trade. I did mention this in the episode about Anansi. It was the trade that...
So they were actually actively kind of trading in human bodies with America.
Yeah, and these then slaves would be transported to the Americas, for example. That's how they spread into the Caribbean and stuff like that.
Right.
So at the time when it started with the Portuguese, the leaders at the time were actually very resistant to the idea of this slave trade. But by the 1700s, leadership was actively engaging in the trade, primarily selling off their war criminals. So they were justifying it in some way, but it was like, well, look, it's not our innocent people, it's criminals, but obviously they're still people. Yeah.
That's a very interesting kind of moral question there.
Yeah, and apparently it racked up some serious money for the leader.
Wow.
Like he was benefiting like no tomorrow. And so very sadly, the slave trade grew so much that the area actually was nicknamed the Slave Coast.
Ooh, ouch.
So by 1892, Dahomey was finally conquered and colonized by France before achieving full independence in 1960 as the official kingdom of Benin. So it actually took quite a lot for it to finally be, 1892 is actually quite late for it to be fully colonized. So yeah, a bit of a hard-hitting history, but I think it was important. Okay, so the Aziza comes from Benin, and they're described as a supernatural race of creatures who live in forests, and they're sometimes called fairies. Though not much is known about them, they are often compared to the European idea of fairies. So they're actually so amazing. The Aziza are thought to be tiny humanoid creatures, usually covered in a thick layer of hair, and with colorful wings comparable to butterflies. So I think it's really pretty.
Furry fairies.
Okay. That has a whole bunch of connotations.
I only realized how that sounded after I said it, so I'm sorry. I had no intention of being offensive. I mean, literal fairies. And they're furry.
Yeah, we get you. So they were renowned as being extremely beautiful and giving off a slight glowing aura. so they just glowed radically all the time. They lived in silk cotton trees or anthills, and were generally quite shy, but will always help those in need.
Wait, they lived in anthills
Mm-hmm.
with the ants?
Mm-hmm. Actually,
Oh, did they use the ants as chariots and they just like went around riding on the ant backs?
so there are a few sources that say that, but
Oh my God.
I couldn't really find very legitimate ones. I don't want to say that they did that, but I kind of hope they did.
Well, it's my headcanon now.
Okay. There's actually some really cute art with Aziza's riding ants.
Cute.
So yeah, they're quite shy. They're actually not mischievous like quite a few other, like some European fairies are, for example, where they kind of wreak havoc or silly
Right.
things, not evil. But they're very sweet, and they're happy to impart practical and spiritual knowledge to humans, including how to create and use fire. So it's interesting, there's a little bit of a Prometheus theory here, where it's the fairies who taught us how to use fire.
So, interestingly enough, through a bunch of different myths that I've been going through, there's actually a lot of African mythology that involves some creature or some god giving humans fire. It's
Yeah.
actually quite ubiquitous across the continent.
Yeah, I suppose, it's quite incredible to think that we came up with that all by ourselves. Like, how did we even think to do that?
What you mean to create fire?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
I think it was probably an accident.
Probably.
Like,
Yeah.
bolt of lightning hits some twigs and we're like, oh my god.
We're like, revelation.
What if we could create that?
And someone was like, focus on the important things, and then
Yeah.
no, I get you. So the Aziza also possess what is called Gebo, which is supernatural powers which can heal, cure, or harm. So they would, if you were in trouble during a hunt or during travels, you could call upon the Aziza and they would come help you figure out how to heal yourself or harm whatever or whoever is attacking you.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Since the fairies were considered to bring good luck, hunters or travelers would often call to them to ask for guidance. Unfortunately, however, so many people would try to do this, and it kind of grew into like a taking advantage of the fairy situation that they withdrew eventually into the forest.
That's such typical humans. They
I
have to
know.
go and mess up a good thing. This is why we can't have nice things.
I know, yeah. So I think like we tried to get them to do whatever we wanted them to do, so they just kind of disappeared after a while.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Imagine that sort of modern day industrialization and things probably also pushed them out.
Yeah.
Because you said they lived in cotton
in-
trees
yeah,
and
in
anthills.
forest anthills, so
Deforestation kind of helped.
exactly, yeah. So that was the Aziza. Then the Mamatia is from Ashanti mythology. So I did talk a little bit about the Ashanti people of Ghana in the episode featuring Anansi the spider god. So I'll just briefly go over it. So the Ashanti people are part of the Akan ethnic group of Ghana. The Akan are known for founding the Ashanti Empire, which lasted from 1670 to 1957. And they possessed incredible military skills and wealth. The Ashanti people strongly resisted British colonization and engaged in a long war with invading forces in an attempt to drive them off. The Anglo-Ashanti War actually consisted of 4 great wars, and they were only defeated in 1901.
Wow.
So that's very, very late compared to other countries in Africa. Again, the Ashanti people were also involved in the transatlantic slave trade.
When you say involved, you mean like
They
actively?
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, here they actually didn't specify that it was war criminals, so I think they were conquering neighboring areas and actually selling off whoever they conquered.
That's so vulnerable.
Yeah, not great at all. I guess, you can't justify it, but I guess they were trying to ensure their survival, but still.
Yeah, no.
You can't justify slavery.
The fact that the kings and people in high class positions weren't just surviving but actually profiting off the slave trade makes this like even more horrendous.
Yeah, no, that's true.
It's actually interesting because I feel that we speak a lot about how Europeans and even Americans to a certain extent are kind of uncomfortable about their history because of things like the slave trade and stuff like that. But, when you start learning things like this, you realize that even those countries that, we consider to be victims of the slave trade and kind of colonialism and things like that also have quite a bit of shame in their history that, they weren't necessarily these helpless, innocent parties in things like this. So, yeah, we have a fair bit of shame in our history as well.
Yeah, I think it just reveals the very, very unpleasant fact of human nature. The powerful are always going to screw up the powerless.
Yeah, oppress the weak.
Because, it's I mean, okay, sure, they were all criminals, but who was selling them off? The leaders.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the Momotia fairy comes from from Shanti mythology. So these are also forest-dwelling fairies, but they were also considered as possibly a bosom. So those are minor deities in Shanti mythology.
Mm-hmm.
They were no more than 1 foot high, with curved noses, yellowish skin, and feet which point backwards.
Oh, that's weird. I don't
Actually,
like that.
It's interesting. So many creatures in African mythology have strange feet.
Oh.
I'm not entirely sure why. Like, is it just a feet fetish? Or what's going on there?
A foot fetish.
So, interesting enough, they communicate with each other via whistling. So, when you hear random whistling as you're like hiking through a forest, you know what's going on there.
Oh, that's interesting.
So apparently they say that you should be careful because if you whistle, you're not entirely sure what could come out.
Oh, so these are not like the helpful furry fairies.
Yes, helpful furry fairies. We're going with it.
Yeah, I'm embracing it now.
Yeah, so like the Aziza, they possess phenomenal medical knowledge, but they're very picky as to who they're going to give this to. They will only impart such knowledge onto other medical professionals.
Oh, well, seems reasonable.
I'm just imagining this tiny fairy like, are you a doctor? Are you? I want to see some certification before I tell you how to do with these herbs.
Well, yeah, what do you got? M-Med, D-Med,
What kind of school?
MHC, whatever.
You okay there? Having a stroke?
I'm not a doctor, okay?
MBPH? So these fairies are not, however, benevolent like the Aziza, as you say. So there's actually 3 different kinds. We have the Black Momotia, who are peaceful and helpful. These may kidnap you, but it's only to teach you the art of medicine and to feed you bananas. So they're actually really sweet. They just want you to learn, like, educate yourself and eat. Get that potassium. So they will kidnap you, but they mean well.
You're like, girl, your potassium is low as fuck.
Like, they're sickly. We need to help. Go in there.
Also, they need to learn a trade.
Yeah, useless. Get a job. So bananas are their favorite fruits. That's why they feed it to you. Then you get the red and white Momotia, which are the tricksters, and they're greedy. And they're always looking for ways to take advantage, and more importantly, ways to steal your food.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So one gives you bananas, one takes your bananas.
Exactly. So, just a random tidbit. The white Momotia love making a dish called suman, which is rice boiled in coconut milk and spices, which sounds really nice.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, I'm like, take me to the red one. When you still on medicine.
Yeah, fuck your bananas.
Right? No, I'm joking. I love bananas. If you're giving me free bananas, I will accept them.
I'm just saying, man. Rice and coconut. Yum.
True. So the Momotia's biggest weakness is its pride, which we have actually seen before. I don't think you've recognized this fairy, but I actually mentioned them in the Anansi episode. Anansi managed to trap a Momotia with a gum baby.
Oh yeah, those dumbasses. I remember. She was like, why are you not talking to me, gum baby?
Yeah, and then she tried to step it and she got stuck. So these are those fairies. Not exactly, but so it was because she was really hungry. And they love stealing food.
Right.
Yeah, so generally the Momotia, whether black, red, or white, they function as messengers between the realms of spirit and nature for the other gods. That's why people think they're minor deities.
Okay.
Because, they're the major deities, bitches. Yeah, so that was very short, but it was so hard to try to find information on this.
Yeah.
And to fact check it. But yeah, that's all I have on them.
They really remind me like a bunch of red, white, and black Tinkerbells.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Pride.
You know the Tinkerbell series?
Yeah.
That's on
Probably
children's channel?
Disney Plus, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm going with that. Where they're like different colors. And
Yeah.
like there's one that's kind of selfish and one that doesn't like Tinkerbell because she's skinny or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah, it's interesting that fairies are just generally known for being sort of stuck-up idiots.
Except the Aziza. I can just imagine them looking at these guys like, why can't you just be nice for once?
Yeah, you dumb naked-ass fairies. Ain't got no fur.
Yeah, so since this is really hard to figure out what is what, I actually have quite a few references here. So I used Encyclopedia of African Religion, Volume 1 by Molefe Kete Asante and Ama Mazama, Encyclopedia of Fairies and World Folklore and Mythology by Teresa Bain, Encyclopedia of Beasts and Monsters in Myth, Legend, and Folklore by Teresa Bain. Oh yeah, I also found some information on Kugali.wordpress, which actually led me to checking out the site called Kugali Media. It's actually really cool. It's an entertainment company that focuses on stories inspired by African culture through comic books, art, and animation. They want to bring stories of Africa to the forefront. So if you want to check it out, it's actually really cool. Their comics are available online. So it's called Kugali Media. Warriors of MythWiki, CryptidWiki, Into the Wonder.wordpress, and repository.com.
Repository?
Repository.
Reciprocity.
Reciprocity. You know what?
You can't read.
I can't read. And also they're trying to say reciprocate tree because it's an environmentally friendly site and I can't.
Yeah, I don't think that was the best marketing decision.
Not really. It's very hard on my mouth. So that's that. I just wanted to show you some pictures which I think I'll be able to put up on Instagram. So many people have done their own depictions of fairies. Usually I think they're trying to show them in somewhat traditional African attire.
Right, yeah.
This is a bit similar to what the Benin people would wear.
Right, so the whole turban and dress combination.
Usually
orange,
yeah. Usually there's jewelry and stuff, but like very bright colors.
I find it interesting that that particular fairy has a parrot on her hand, considering they're supposed to be 1 foot in size. So that's a very small parrot.
It's a micro parrot. But yeah, I just found them very beautiful.
Yeah, these can see beautiful illustrations.
Yeah, the whole butterfly thing. And also they've got like warrior fairies, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely put some of these up on Instagram for you guys to check out.
Yeah, but those are the fairies of African mythology.
I love that.
Thank you.
I thought that was amazing.
Awesome.
All right, we're going to go into our promo break now, and then I'll be back with a story from Nigeria.
Awesome.
Do you enjoy video games, drinking, and attempting to solve the world's problems through ridiculous schemes? Spend some time with Zach and Josh from the Midwest Meltdown. This show was created by 2 friends who have spent the past 14 years telling funny stories, talking about video games, and anything else that comes to mind. They wanted to turn their passion for gaming into something they could share with others. Again, that's the Midwest Meltdown on Spotify, Apple Music, and Podbean. Check them out. They would be happy to have you. So I just want to say that during our promo break, Toshiro was actually attacked by a
Why are you telling them my
a
shame?
standing fan.
What was it doing so close to my chair?
She just like sat down and this thing was suddenly in her face and she literally freaked out.
I did that in confidence. Just announcing this on the show.
So today I'm talking about the legendary founding father of the Hausa people.
Okay.
Called Bayajida and his heroic exploits.
Alright, hero time.
So before I get into the legend, as per usual, a little bit about the Hausa. As many might know, the Hausa are the largest ethnic group actually in all of sub-Saharan Africa.
Really?
Yeah, not just in
I've
Nigeria.
never heard of them. I'm so sorry.
You need to get up on your African literature.
You know, I'm very South African centric because I'm just like, yeah, so the Zulus and then
Yeah, I mean, so as far as I can tell, in Nigeria, the 3 main ethnic groups are the Hausa, the Yoruba, and the... I don't know if Igbo is a language or a tribe. I'm really sorry if I offend anyone with that. I actually can't remember.
I think it's both.
Yeah, not sure about that, but yeah, they're Hausa, a very prominent ethnic group.
Okay.
So they belong primarily to southern parts of Niger and to Nigeria, but they're also indigenized in some 14 other African countries.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah,
They get around.
Yeah, they're spread out over the continent. They're mostly Islamic, and they speak the language Hausa.
Okay.
Now, another important thing to know in terms of the legend I'm about to tell is that during the first 1,000 years of the Common Era, there existed the Hausa kingdoms, also known as Hausa land. Hausa land lay between the eastern and western Sudanic kingdoms of modern-day Ghana and Mali, and by the 14th century, the city-state Kano became an extremely powerful trading state all across West and North Africa.
That is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, these were
power.
The ones.
You know? I love learning about these kingdoms. Okay, carry on.
Yeah, it's amazing how varied and just...
There's so many.
There's just so many.
Yeah.
So now that we have some idea of the backdrop against which the story is set, let's get into the fabled origins of these truly magnificent people. So the precise date of Bayajida, his birth and death, is not known. We do know that he is said to have come from Baghdad, Iraq.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Bayajida, or his Arabic name is Abu Yazidu, was actually a prince in Iraq, being the son of King Abdullahi.
Okay.
But after Queen Zidam or Zigawa conquered his hometown, he was exiled and forced to travel across Africa with a posse of warriors until they arrived in Borno, which forms part of modern-day northern Nigeria. So, essentially, according to this story, the Hausa people claim Arabic or... Well, I mean, some of them claim Arabic origin, some of them claim Iraqi origin.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I find that very interesting but quite unusual.
Yeah, it seems odd, but I think it fits very much with the kind of modern Islamic culture.
So did this legend then come about after, after Islamization of this area or
Islamization?
Islamization.
That's a word now.
What is it called?
You're just up in here making up
words. Reprocatory. Islamizate. You know what?
Anyway, yeah. I actually don't know that, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's
because that kind of makes sense.
Case.
Better. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, another version of the story actually says that Bayajida's exile was as a result of a quarrel with his father. But I only found this version on one source versus like many sources saying he was exiled by the conquering queen. So I think that's more reliable.
Also cola.
Yeah. Now, it was during this time in Borno in northern Nigeria that Abu Yazidu actually acquired the name Bayajida.
Oh, okay.
So previously he was known by his Arabic name, and then he got a Hausa name. And Bayajida in Hausa actually means he who did not understand before.
You know nothing, Jon Snow!
Oh my god, I didn't think of that at all.
It's because I've been listening to too much Factor Fantasy.
Factor Fantasy, another podcast recommendation.
Definitely go check out Chase and Josh.
So Bayajida also allied himself with the Sultan of Borno and helped defend the territory against enemy armies. But things were not rainbows and puppies for that long because it really turned into more of a frenemy situation. The thing is, Bayajida's army was much more powerful than the Sultan's, and it got to a point where basically he was the major force in Borno.
He's worried about a coup.
Yeah. Understandably, the Sultan started feeling like, this guy's got serious big dick energy, and it's a problem for my kingdom.
The big dick energy is back. Didn't we mention that in our very first episode?
Can't remember. Anyway, so believing Bayajida planned to overthrow him, the Sultan decided to deal with the situation in the most obvious and natural way possible. You could probably guess.
Pick me. He said to kill him.
No, that would actually have made sense.
Oh.
Instead, he decided to give Bayajida his daughter Magira's hand in marriage.
Oh, he went the diplomatic route. I mean, no, that makes sense as well. Although not really, because you're just making him the next Sultan, so...
Yeah, I'm not sure what was the thinking behind that. I guess it was a little bit like in the episode where I talked about... oh my god, what's his name? It's completely gone out of my head.
I don't know. What's his name?
Oh, yes. It's where I was talking about the King of the Underworld giving...
Literally our last episode.
Giving... Look, I have a brain like a goldfish. Anyway, giving his daughter's hand in marriage to his enemy, the king of the Butrezi. So it was kind of like having a woman on the inside situation.
I suppose also you're like, well, look, if this guy's gonna take over anyway, I might as well be the one that authorizes it. So it kind of places you back in the position of power. Like, I can kind of see how that works in terms of power play.
I think it also creates a kind of honor situation where you can't, like, kill your own kin.
Can't you, though? Be careful.
Anyway, I just wanted to say, like, fuck the patriarchy, because I'm so tired of women being used as bargaining chips.
Yeah, that's true.
It just comes up so much in, not only African mythology, but pretty much all over. And
not even in mythology, hey? Real life.
It sucks. Anyway, so the Sultan continued to sort of subtly undermine Bayajida. One time he actually sort of isolated him by persuading Bayajida to leave his warriors at various towns that they had conquered.
Oh.
And that basically left Bayajida alone with his wife and, like, one slave.
Okay.
So anyway, no doubt wanting to stick it to her dad for marrying her off to literally his biggest enemy,
True.
Bagheera warned her husband of her father's treachery, and the couple escaped to Garum Gabas, which is located in the Hadeja region of Nigeria.
But now they became kind of like fugitives.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, not really. I don't think the Sultan would have pursued them. He just wanted this guy out of his territory.
And his daughter, apparently.
So anyway, in Garum Gabas, Bagheera gave birth to their first child, which they named Byram. Or Biram, not sure.
I'm gonna go with Biram. Sounds cool.
But this wasn't the end of Bayajidda's travels. Leaving his family in Garum Gabas, Bayajidda traveled to Gaya in modern-day Niger, where he commissioned the forging of a knife by local blacksmiths. He then traveled on to Daura, where he stopped to ask an old woman for water. So this is where we come to Bayajidda's actual heroism, ignoring for now the fact that he basically abandoned his wife and newborn in a foreign city.
I was just thinking that.
So I guess, hero and douchebag are not mutually exclusive.
So common with heroes of mythology.
Looking at you, Theseus.
Yeah, Theseus to make a comeback. Douchebag of Greek mythology.
So the old woman told Bayajidda that the people of the town were only allowed to draw water once weekly, since the well was being guarded by a snake named Sarki, which in Hausa means king.
Okay, now it gets good.
So it was only when the entire community could get together and fight off the snake that they were able to actually draw water.
Oh, so it's not as if the snake is allowing them to draw water every week. They literally have to get together and fight it off once a week. Wow, that's a lot, eh? How big is a snake?
I mean, as far as I can tell, it was a normal-sized snake.
I would have just dialed up Nick Evans.
Okay, so inside joke. Well, not inside joke, but inside information. Nick Evans is apparently the only snake catcher in all of this country. He just comes up in the news a lot. This is completely irrelevant information to anyone who's not South African. So Bayajidda was like, nah fam, this situation is some horse shit, and strolled over to the well with his bucket like a boss-ass bitch.
Alright.
I mean, he's like, I'm sorry, are we really going to be able to draw enough water to bath for the whole week? I mean, you people telling me you bath once a week.
Maybe they're using like JoJo's.
JoJo's South African slang for a water storage container.
Sorry,
you are being very South African today.
I'm so sorry. I shouldn't be apologizing for my South Africanness, which is another word I just made up.
As Bayajidda pulled on the well rope, the snake came up with the bucket, and grasping its neck, Bayajidda beheaded Sarki with his brand new knife.
That's all it took. Come on, people. Why was it so hard?
Then, for some reason, he decided to throw the snake corpse back in the well.
What?
And bag the head, which I assume he thought would be like a lovely souvenir from the poor nice old lady that just wanted to get the guy some water.
And now they can't because there's a snake corpse in it, so there goes the entire water system.
Yeah, so like 100 points for killing the snake, but like minus 80 for poisoning their water source.
Downhead.
It's just, he's a genius.
I did it! Also, you can't use this well, move along.
Anyway, if anyone is interested in visiting this well, which actually exists, it's called the Kusugu Well, and it's actually quite a popular tourist attraction. But can I just say, I recommend against drinking the water because, like, snake cooties.
You don't think they've removed it by now?
I mean, I just wouldn't take that kind of risk, you know?
You know what one of my fears are? Not that I've ever used a well before, but if I had to, is actually, like, putting the bucket in, drawing it out, and drawing something else out besides the water.
Well, I gather that modern day wells actually come from like groundwater.
Yeah, but like what about if a bird has a heart attack mid-flight and just falls into the well? You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden you got bird weirdness in your water and it's disgusting.
Oh my god, bird flu.
Also, actually no. Look, birds aren't what I'm really worried about. What I'm really worried about is, I don't know, pulling out a hand or something.
Ew.
I don't know.
Just a disembodied hand?
People are gross. Anyway, sorry. Went off there.
Anyway, the people of Daura gathered at the well the next day, and they were like, OMG, sweet, that snake is dead. Then Queen Magajia Daurama, clearly a little overeager in her gratitude, offered up a full half of her town to whoever could prove to her that they had slain the snake.
She must have been really desperate for snake water.
I'm just like, you're a queen. Like, couldn't you have figured out how to kill this damn snake before
Apparently, it needed that specific dagger from that blacksmith. It was a were hyena. They needed a were hyena knife.
And in case you're wondering, reference to episode 1, Curse of the Were Hyena. If you haven't checked it out, I mean, why are you even here?
Yeah, go home.
Anyway, a bunch of wannabes showed up with various snake heads, as you might expect, none of which matched the rest of Sarki's body, so they were obviously not accepted. Eventually, the old woman came to the queen and informed her that the real McCoy was actually chilling back at her house.
Wait, is there a weird relationship going on here? Oh,
Dude,
it's just an old woman.
That is not in any way relevant.
Right, sorry.
And when Bayajida offered up Sarki's head, the queen confirmed that he was the true snake slayer. Now check this saucy motherfucker, okay?
Oh no, I think I know what's happening.
Instead of accepting the queen's offer of half her town, he asked for her hand in marriage
That
instead.
hoe's already married!
Like, my dude, have you forgotten that you left an entire wife and son back in, like, the middle of nowhere?
You know, when he chopped off the snake's head and discarded the body, he was discarding his old life. It's like, it's gone now.
Like, it's in the past. I mean, look, I understand that in a lot of Islamic tradition you can take more than one wife, but like this brat didn't even mention to the queen that he's got another wife.
Also, I mean, you don't generally leave the other wife in some other random city.
Also, I believe that it is courtesy to ask your first wife whether you can take a second wife and then like to get her approval.
Yeah, because she's the main honcho here. You can't just displace her.
Yeah, she's supposed to be head wife. So this guy was like some other kind of douche. Anyway, the queen was so hung up on this whole snake killing thing that she actually married the dude.
Why?
Now, apparently it was against Dara custom to marry off their queens. Their queens were supposed to remain celibate their entire lives.
Interesting.
So, Queen Magajia actually decided to hold off on doing the dirty with her new husband, instead offering him a concubine named Bagwaria.
Okay, that's not weird at all.
Apparently, she did this because she had to first undertake like several rituals before she could break her vow of celibacy.
Okay.
So, sucks to be Queen of Dara, but also sucks to be the full-in concubine too.
Yeah, she's just, temporary.
I'm sorry, Bayajida couldn't just keep it in his pants for a few days until the rituals were finished. It's like, no, I need a concubine now. As, mythology goes, Bagwaria immediately fell pregnant.
Of course.
Because, Bayajida is that manly. It's just like, boom, pregnant.
The snake killer.
And she gave birth to a son named Karabagari, which, get this, literally means he snatched the town in Hausa.
Oh, wow, okay.
So this bad bitch basically called her kid on my way to steal your town. Which kind of makes me love her a bit. I'm like, she may be a concubine, but she's like, my son's gonna pwn all of you. But get this, right? It gets better.
Oh, wow.
Queen Magajia subsequently had a son of her own, and she named him Bawo, which means give it back.
Are you serious?
So these guys are like playing tennis with the kids' names.
You can't do that to your children.
It's so funny.
That's hilarious.
Okay, here's the bummer though. After Bayajida rocked up in Dawara, he actually changed a traditionally matriarchal society to a patriarchal society.
Typical.
So that sucks ass.
Because his sons now are going to rule.
Yeah.
Although, just a quick question: if the queen's supposed to be celibate, how did the royalty progress?
So I assume that the royalty, oh my god,
it's what's her face from
Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Yeah, with her weird
Mrs.
Price.
Price.
Her weird squishy.
Yeah, sorry. So I was asking you, how would the lineage continue if all the queens are celibate?
So I think that instead of the throne being passed down through blood, they were probably elected or chosen or something. Maybe they were chosen by ancestors or some sort of gods or something like that.
Might have been a process of adoption, that kind of worked in the Roman Empire.
Right.
So he would if you don't have a son, or if your sons die, then you adopt your nearest relative. Not physically nearest, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, I actually have no idea, so I'm just editorializing here.
Interesting.
So Bayajida fathered 3 sons all in all, with 3 separate women. And Biram and Bawo's 6 sons went on to become the rulers of the 7 so-called legitimate Hausa states. Meanwhile, Karabgari, who you will remember is Mr. Steal Your Town,
right,
he also had 7 sons, and they founded and ruled the 7 illegitimate states.
They were legitimate and illegitimate states.
Yeah. So 14 states all in all, 7 legitimate, 7 illegitimate.
How do they have so many sons?
Yeah, I know, right?
And what happened to his very first wife and child?
No, so that's Biram.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was actually quite nice because basically the kingdom got divided in thirds, or in half, but Biram and Bawa ruled together.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're gonna be a douchebag, you might as well be a.
Well, he certainly
Somewhat honorable
valued his
douchebag.
sons.
Mm.
So yeah, that's the story of the legendary hero of the Hausa people. And I just want to actually end off with a little bit of how he's remembered in the present day. Annually, Dara hosts the Ghani Festival, which involves a reenactment of Bayajidda's story as a way of keeping the legend alive. After the adoption of Islam in the region, the festival was renamed Maulud al-Nabi, but the reenactment part has remained part of the celebrations. The main office holders, so in other words, the royal family and other important ministers of state, actually play the roles of their legendary ancestors.
Oh, so the royalty are the actors.
Yeah.
That's rare. I wonder
Yeah.
if they ever get fruit thrown at them.
Boo, go home.
I guess not.
My sources for this story was the book African Mythology A to Z by Patricia Ann Lynch, the article The Bayajidda Legend and Hausa History by Dirk Lang, and Wikipedia.
Awesome. That was great.
I mean, look, again, it's oral tradition, so it's pretty unlikely that this guy actually existed, but, you know, it's cool to know that you're descended from a badass snake slayer, I guess.
Yeah, although I have to say, as usual, I'm always disappointed with the heroes. I mean, like, it was cool and everything, but firstly, he chucked the snake back in the well, so there's that issue.
True.
And then he was just a douchebag to all his hundreds of wives.
Yeah.
3 or whatever. Well, 2, and then girlfriend.
I mean, I don't think he actively mistreated them.
No, yeah, I mean, I guess it was the norm at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't seen as anything
Yeah.
particularly out of the usual.
Yeah, I mean, they seem fine with it. They're like, cool. We'll just be passive aggressive with the sons' names.
Right? Like the ultimate of petty.
I'll stab you in the back. No, I'll stab you in the back with my son. That was awesome. That was really enjoyable.
Yeah, anyway, we hope that you enjoyed this episode of Legendary Africa. If you did, please do subscribe to us. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I mean, you're already listening to us, so just subscribe on the platform that you're on currently. And do tell everyone about us. Tweet, DM, whatever you need to do. Also, check out our YouTube channel, Legendary Africa, where we post most Wednesdays.
Yeah.
We currently have a video up called We Teach You South African Slang.
Yeah, something like that. So go subscribe there, click that notifications button, and hey, you want to do the social media
Handles.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
So Instagram
Legendary Pod.
and Twitter.
LegendaryPod1. Also, email us at staylegendarypod@gmail.com.
Yeah, we would be happy to actually even, it'd be nice if people could like send us myth suggestions or their stories or, you know, anything really.
Yeah, absolutely. Got something you want to hear? Got a country you want some myths from?
Exactly. What do you think about rice and coconut milk and spices? Send us your recipes.
Hit us up. Alright, so until next time, stay safe,
Stay sexy.
and stay legendary.
Bye.